Hello, welcome to another edition of the Diaspora. I am Ma Aubary from the Gambia. The Diaspora is a show designed to talk about events, politics, lifestyle, and entertainment, and every aspect of human endeavor, both local and international. We'll be bringing you stories of Diaspora Gambians out there, Diaspora of other nations residing in the Gambia, and our stories will be featured from both local and international media. So always watch out with me on Afrinity TV, as this is a show to keep you informed and entertained. Let's take a look at the news from the Gambia today. The Central Bank of the Gambia assures that banking industry will not be hurt. The Central Bank of the Gambia has assured that the country's banking industry that the implementation of the Janneh Commission recommendations would not adversely affect the strong financial position of banks. It further assured that the banking sector remains safe, sound, and stable, and that there is no cause for alarm. Ex-Presidential Minister Sabally banned from holding public office. The Attorney General and Ministry of Justice Abubakar B. Tambedo on Friday has released the 93-page report, an excerpt of the report of the Commission of Inquiry widely called the Janneh Commission, in which the government accepts a recommendation that Momodu Sabally should not serve in any public office and should not hold any director position for 10 years. The report also banned his boss, former President Yahya Jammeh, for life from holding a public office. It also recommends that a motion be tabled before legislators for charges to be brought against Yahya Jammeh for theft, economic crimes, and corruption. Europe encourages tourists to visit the Gambia. A dramatic U-turn discouraging EU citizens from non-essential travels or journeys to the Gambia due to a previous entrenched dictatorship, as well as uncertainty and instability of the previous regime, is now overturned or replaced with assurance and hopefulness as the tourist season approaches. The rather exceptional and positive development by the EU is in complete contrast to its earlier unenthusiastic and lukewarm guidance towards the country. The boast has been widely supported by officials. Let's take a look at stories from outside the Gambia. Grace Mugabe will keep her fortune, said the Zimbabwe president. Grace Mugabe, the widow of Zimbabwe's former president Robert Mugabe, will keep the fortune accrued by her family during her husband's 37 years in power, authorities said on Tuesday. President Emerson has assured the family that they will keep their wealth, said the Secretary for Administration of the ruling party. The Mugabes are one of the most influential families in Zimbabwe, owning multiple properties including a dairy farm, a private school, and a game reserve. The title deeds will soon be transferred into the family's name, he said. Still on Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe bids farewell to Robert Mugabe with a state funeral. Zimbabwe gave former President Mugabe a state funeral 16 September, with African leaders paying tribute to a man lauded as a liberation hero, but whose 37-year rule was defined by repression and economic turmoil. Mr. Mugabe, who died in Singapore aged 95, left Zimbabwe deeply divided over his legacy. The African country is still struggling with high inflation and shortage of goods after decades of mismanagement. Former and current African leaders, including South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa and Kenya's president, arrived to crowds chanting and drumming liberation songs at the 60,000 capacity National Stadium in Harare for the ceremony. The late leader's final burial at a national monument will take place only after a new mausoleum is built in about 30 days. President Bio announces measures to crack down examination fraudsters. President Julius Maada Bio has yesterday announced measures to curb the increasing spate of examination malpractice. He made his announcement at the opening of the newly comprehensive primary school at No. 9 Community in Freetown. Addressing the nation, President Bio said, "Examination malpractice destroys the soul of our education system, and we must all support the current efforts by the Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, to pursue all those involved in examination malpractice." However, those efforts by the ACC must be within the law, adhere to due process, and respect human rights. As a government, we have engaged in heightened and robust monitoring of all public examination, which has led to the uncovering of the huge scale of examination malpractice. Therefore, as immediate steps to address examination malpractice, I wish to announce the following. First of all, those caught or suspected of examination malpractice should be prosecuted without delay or exemption. Second, any teacher or school head caught and prosecuted should be terminated from service. And third, all centers suspected of examination malpractice should have their results cancelled. Thank you very much for joining us on today's edition of the Diaspora. If you're watching for the first time, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Afrinity TV or like our Facebook page at Afrinity Production.